Yo, 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 hello, Storytellers, welcome back to the Isaac Cinnamon live stream. Back at it again with yet another masterpiece of something, some sort of train wreck that we've decided we're gonna spend our time on today. How's everyone doing today? Let's all take a deep breath. It's the end of the week, or at least it is for me, because of how my classes work. My classes end on Thursdays, and we have Fridays off to do more work. It's like kind of an off day, it's kind of not, but it is nice to not have to go in physically to class on a Friday. But yeah, how's everyone's weeks going? I feel like we're heading, this was just like my midterm season, so we're like going over the curve of a very busy season, but that means finals are just right around the corner, so it's like the curve of a busy season into like a dip into a higher busy season. If that makes sense. I know I'm making you think about graphs and charts verbally, auditorily. So that's, good luck trying to think of that. I've got my final meet this weekend, and I leave tomorrow at 9 a.m. I say that like that's really early. 9 a.m. I leave on a bus, and we drive to Florida, where for 3 days we're going to be at a meet, and then I won't get back until like midnight Sunday. So needless to say, this is going to be the last stream this week. And if you looked at the title, we are going to be taking a look at the original Severance pilot script, because through the website Script Slug, you can find all these different kinds of scripts that are out there, and the Severance one is one of them. I only looked at the first page. It is already drastically different than the actual pilot episode that they shot, The Good News About Hell. They even had a different name for it. It's called Mister. So I want to take a look at that for a couple reasons. One, because I love Severance, and I want to see how Dan Erickson, the writer, actually writes. I also want to compare it to the actual pilot to see what they changed and see what we think, because this was the pilot that he wrote and submitted to like a competition Ben Stiller had, where Ben Stiller looked at this and was like, I'm gonna make this show. So clearly there's something to this pilot, even though it's different than what they actually shot. So I want to look through that. We want to analyze it, talk about it, especially as we are making our own pilot for our own TV show, and see what really works, what really grabs the attention first and foremost over everything else. So that's on the docket today, but as always, we are going to start as we always do, which is with a little bit of New York Times word games, starting with our Wordle. Look, now it's tracking our streak. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep my New York Times subscription too long. I guess it's going to be however long it takes me to get through the reason I got it, which was the serial podcast. But we'll take advantage of it while we have it. So let's start with our classic stare, and we are left with not too much. Yesterday the word was ozone. That is a very weird word to try to get, because it's got double letters and the letter Z in it. Hello, Noah. How's your day going? But we could start with a little bit of a bloke. We could get a bloke in there. Might not get quite enough letters. Pline? Is that a word? I just always want a good second word that gets like a good range of like different letters. Plume. Sure, why not? Plume. Nope. 0 for 2. Noah, I am doing all right. I am I was gonna say I'm feeling a little tired from this week, but I actually got great sleep last night, which is a weird thing that happens to me. Is when I get good sleep, it's like my body realizes how tired I actually am, and then it's like, oh, I want more sleep, you know. But it's also like that middle of the quarter sort of thing. So, you know, you're getting through. I've heard that you've been getting very much into Epic the Musical lately, which has surprised me that so many people actually watched that stream and have gone back and watched it. If I had known that so many people were going to watch it, I would not have been eating candy the whole time, because the whole time I'm just the whole stream. But I am excited to come back and finish that, so that's been cool. But it's been cool to hear from you how you've been getting into it. Chode. Cash. No. Choke. Let's try it. Wow. That's crazy. We're not making a lot of progress here. I mean, we are, because we're eliminating things, but what could this be? Now I'm immediately thinking that this is some sort of like double letter type of thing, kind of like the ozone was yesterday. Like Edife or something weird like that, you know? Edine or iodine. Is that a word? No. Edine. No worries. Can't wait to see how the ending goes. Yeah, I'm excited to finish it. I want to see that full graph of everything, you know? Tybee, Bybee. Divvy. Dizzy. That's not how you spell that, but I feel like we're dealing with something weird like that, you know? Like peace, even though neither of those letters work, but Deeve. Neve. It would be crazy if they had three E's in this word. 3 E's and a D. Ween. Like the start of Wiener. When my friend got this in 5 today, so I'd like to beat her. Bend? Benny? No. Cindy. Like, I feel like maybe it ends in IE, you know? Like, of course, they've taken away my H and my R, so I can't, like, combine a lot of consonants, you know? But it could be, like, something Eddie. Like, needy, beady, beady, deedy, dee-die. Or Evi. Like, Evie. Bevy. Devi. Divvy. No, that's not how you spell divvy. Dewey. I don't know how to spell words, I'm just realizing, which may not be the best as a dramatic writing major. Screenwriter, even. Givey. Wi-Fi. VidD. Man, this is tough. I always feel like it's going to be tough when my friend sends me the score that she got. Because that tells me that, like, especially when it's like 5 out of 6, because, you know, we have it fun competition, but sometimes it's just like, I feel like she's sharing it with me because she knows that it was a hard word. Okay, well, it wasn't Dixie, but we did get confirmation on the IE, which means we have 2 more guesses to figure out what the frick is going on here. Benny. We know that there's also no I can go there. So there's something weird going on here. We either got another E or gooey. Oh, Nui? No. My friend beat me. Dang it. Okay, well, let's just try to get it. Genie. Good word. Hard word. It's what those words that seem so simple that are the hardest to get, because you don't realize how many vowels are in this. Genie. Dang. All right, on to the mini. We try to get sub-minute on this. Tiny cotton swab is a Q-tip. Leaves on the stove too long, burns. They're used to hunt and peck. Beaks. I'm trying to focus here. Shh. Shh. Button that might make a whoosh sound. Don't know. Word pronounced like the first letter. Oh, Q, like you go in the queue. Followed by 4 vowels. Feature of an extravagant wedding dress is a trail. Signed as a contract is inked. Verbal alternative to a tap on the shoulder. Psst, and then some backyard parties. BBQs. What? Oh. Do I have something wrong here? Inked. Psst. Trail. Q. Oh no. I'm lost. Barbecues. Q is correct. Trail is right. Quiet is right. Seld. Now I'm lost. I feel like this letter's wrong. BBQE? Held? No. This is crazy. I mean, it's not crazy, but... And we're over a minute. What the heck? I think it's just against me today. Button that might make a whoosh sound. No? I'm just trying every letter. I don't know what a seld is. But I also don't know what it would be other than barbecues, BBQs. Do I have Q spelled wrong? No. Yeah, that's right. Trail. Send. Train. It's called a train. And then send. Button that might make a whoosh sound. I see. I get what they're saying. I just don't like that they did that to me. That's really rude. All right, let's be a little cheerier. All right, we got this, guys. We got this next one. What are we dealing with? We got cornfield, iceberg, butter, milk, baby powder, scarecrow, pitchers, polar bear, penguin, leaf, musicians, bane, walls, snow, joker, romaine. Okay. Lot going on here. The first thing I see immediately, Joker, Penguin, Scarecrow, and Bane are all Batman villains. That's pretty good. That seems good to me. We have a lot of long words today. So let's take a look. We've got milk, which is white, baby powder's white, snow is white, and polar bears are all white. So we could be dealing with things that are white here. Traditionally, I guess an iceberg could play into that, because I also could see that like snow, iceberg, milk, and polar bear are like things that need to be kept cold. But then you also throw in butter there. Oh, this is a tricky one. What are the ones that don't feel connected to things? Musicians feels out of left field. What did I just see? Sorry. Cornfield. Pitchers. We've got Penguin, Joker, Bane, Scarecrow. We've got romaine lettuce. We've got leaves of lettuce. Iceberg. Like, oh wait, these are cuts of lettuce. Is there one more? Because like iceberg lettuce, romaine lettuce, and leaf seems to all go with that. I mean, that could be a red herring, but that feels like they go together. That feels like they go together. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, baby powder, polar bear, snow, and milk feels like it could be in all. These are all white things category, which leaves us with: is buttered lettuce a thing? No, not scarecrow. Lettuce walls, pitchers. Musicians, cornfield, pitchers. Are these all things that... and walls? I don't know. I don't want to guess quite yet. Yeah. Milk, lettuce? No. Walls, snow. Yeah, what's my best guess here? Well, my most I don't know what's happening guess is like musicians, pitchers, cornfield, and then either butter or walls. Butter or walls. So since these all seem like, well, I guess cornfield isn't plural. I'm gonna try walls. Let's see what this does. Okay, hey, we got one. The purple out of pretty much nothing. They have literal or idiomatic ears. So cornfields have ears of corn. Musicians have ears. Pitchers have ears. I've never heard that. And then walls have ears. That is a tricky one, but that makes me feel like iceberg, romaine, butter, and what's the other one? Snow themed words. Yeah, snow, but then like I think they're trying to get me to say penguin in there, and I'm pretty confident in the Batman villains, you know. I'm gonna go with these for lettuce things. Kinds of lettuce. Not quite the blue. We're trying to go purple, blue, green, yellow, but hey, the fact that we're getting them without any mistakes is great. So then I guess I'll go baby powder, polar bear, snow, and milk as white things. Really? That was the yellow? See, I saw this one first, and that ended up being the blue. Batman villains. Hey, that was our best one yet. All right, we're happy. We're happy with this. Our current streak is 4. That's great. All right, let's head over to the bane. Get it? The bane of our existence, which is strands. Let's just head on over here. Take a look. See what's going on. All right, coarse material. Coarse is another word for rough. And it's not spelled a weird way like a course, race course or something. Cloth? Cloth could be part of the bigger spanogram, because I don't see like clothing or anything here. What's like rough clothing? Scarf could be something. Gook. Coarse material. I'm thinking like burlap. Yo, what's up, Max? How's it going, man? I'm thinking like burlap is coarse material. Goof. Goop. Cheesy. like cheese right. It has been a while. It's been a minute. I am doing good, working hard, and hardly working. But enjoying the week. Hope everyone had a good Easter weekend. Heading into May, it's looking hotter and hotter where I am. Satchel. I feel like cloth is here for a reason. Cloths. But maybe that's just trying to throw me off. Sat. Course material. Rope. Rubber. Ravioli. Brock. Yeah. It's good to hear from you, Max. What you getting up to these days? Pog. Puff. Scruff. That would be good if I could reach that. Porfo. There's double F's here. That's something. Stuff. Okay, stuff is gotta be part of the spanogram. I think I see it. Wait, I see the path. Where's the R? Tough stuff, rough stuff. I see uff. Look. Oh wait. Rough stuff. I see the path. Rough stuff. Nice. Mainly work, volunteering for the esports team and Trident. Nice. Nice, man. That's good to hear. Cloths. Okay, rough stuff. What's stuff that is rough? Gravel? Sandpaper. Hey, we're getting somewhere now. No hints. Sackcloth. We're getting very biblical here with the sackcloth. Oh, so you're bald, but it happens? Hey, it does happen. I have been told and warned all my life that I'm gonna grow up and be bald someday, and it is yet to happen, but I know it's probably close. Empire. That's pretty rough, man. We got sackcloth, we got sandpaper. Barack Obama. Coup d'etat, coup de ville. Cup me. Gotta get a Keeps subscription as soon as you can. Listen, we might live to a point in human history where we figure out how to like prevent baldness and stuff. At least that's the kind of hope I look on at the future with, but you know, could just be copium. Other rough stuff. Rough going, rough. A rough poo. You ever just have a rough poo? Rough more. Rough pepole. A rough start. Rough coop. Sackcloth and sandpaper are both very physical things. Like, it literally is coarse material. So I'm trying to think of like other, like, cotton. Is cotton coarse? Not really. Fabric. Dang. Harib. Looky here. Lucy Goosey. Recoup. Dang, good word though. You gotta recuperate. Oop. The weirdest thing happened yesterday. I guess not the weirdest thing, it's pretty normal, but while we were Carib. I was trying to get lunch yesterday. I went over to the dining hall that I pretty much always eat at unless I'm bored of it. And I went over and there were like people standing in front of it, like employees, and they didn't have the doors like locked or anything, like they were open. But the guy, there was a really tall guy there, and he was like a tall, awkward guy, and he just kind of like looked at me and stood over me and was like, sorry, the dining hall's closed today until further notice, which is weird because it was open that morning for breakfast. And so I was like, what's going on here? And it opened back up today, but the storyteller in me was just like, I feel like there's a conspiracy here. Like, is our dining hall a front for a meth lab? It could happen, you know? I mean, I feel like it would be a lot harder for them to just come right back the next day for if that were the case, but a man can dream, okay? Also, on that note, I don't know what I'm doing here. Raffle. I don't want to use a hint because we've gotten so many, or we've gotten 3 of them without a hint. It could be true. You know what? You hear it in the news all the time. I use that like that's like an explanation for anything. Like, you know, you heard it in the news, so it could happen. Rope. Rope. I knew Rope was on here. I said it earlier. I just didn't say it. Yeah, Walter White's in the back. He's like, Jesse, we have to cook. We have to cook for these kids. And he's like, yo, no, Mr. White, we got to be making meth. And then he's like, Jesse, look at me, Jesse. We have to get 30 meals per minute out to these kids, Jesse. You know, that's probably exactly what happened. Cup me soup. Pumice. Okay, I put that down because it sounded like a word in my head. I do not know what that is. What is pumice? Pumice is a type of light porous volcanic rock that's known for its ability to float on water. Nice. Okay, we're close. We only get 2 words left. Jesse, we only have 2 words, Jesse. They could be really short words too, like rope is cool. I mean, they're gonna have to be not too long. Bakar? Think of wood. Oak? Are you saying think of wood as in like you know the answer and you're just not telling me? Or like a dog? Do you see the answer and you're not telling me? Because if so, what the heck, man? I know I said no hints. I meant more no, like, I'm not gonna bark. Oh. Yeah. Hey, I got there a second before you typed that, so. Anyways. Loofah. Well, yeah. There we go. Hey, no hints. I'm really proud of that. You used 0 hints. That's pretty nice. I am always happy with a 0 hint kind of time. All right, we did this. Oh gosh, we did this yesterday. Let's just take a look at the crossword, you know, the big crossword, because I'm probably not going to solve it, but I paid the subscription, so we might as well take a look. Interview with the Vampire and Prince of Thorns. Nope. Borat and This Is Spinal Tap. Okay, these are things that I feel like I should know, and yet I don't know, which is awkward. Like some experimental music, bad. Deferential, dude. Valentine's Day sentiment. I love you. That could be it. More than a mere grudge, a vendetta. That fits. They might be all over the map. Gas stations. Animal known for freezing under pressure. Anything. Noted criminal extradited to the US. I'm not knowledgeable enough. Weinstein? Deadpan. Dry. You see what I mean? This is like the mini crossword is good enough for me. Okay, this is rough. Kind of cucumber that isn't a vegetable. I don't know. Sea cucumber. Sorry. So, you know, for some of these, I just need to like take a second, you know? Ladybird and Stand By Me. They're doing this thing. I don't know. I haven't seen either of those movies. Anya Taylor-Joy. Bundle of paper or grain. A ball cluster. Some, a few. Dash. Hyphen. No? Oh, come on, man. Give me that. Italian designer. Prefix with soul or classical. Neo. Spanish letter before T. Te. A, B, C, C, D, E, F, A, O, T, K, L, M, N, N, O, P, Q, R, R, S. I could have just gone S and then done essay, but why would I do that? One of many listed on the back of a tour shirt. Dates. Locations. Atlanta school. Oh, shoot. I feel like I should know this, like University of Southern Georgia or something, but I don't know if that's it. Get that away. Get that out of my face. Get that away from me. Be gone. Grid lines. Mythical forge locale. Get. Receive. Nope. Acquire. Nope. Second calling. Jesus Christ. Items that gather lather. I don't know. Person with the shift after a long one of yours. Something. 1980s New York mayor. Hyphen. Why is it not dash? Hyphen. This is so not fair. Dollop. Dab. I'm starting to think that this I love you is wrong, and I thought that as soon as I wrote it. Verb that sounds like a number and is a letter backwards. Hold on. 1, 2. Wait. Verb that sounds like a number and is a letter backwards. 1, 2, 3. Tree. No. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. ETA. 8. Verb. I ate. Eat. 9, 10. I'm sorry, I don't know. CD follower. DVD. Potato. Turnover. It's the hyphen stuff again. Why are they doing this to me? Out of my way. Move. Vendetta, I think, is correct. That's good to know. Overly big. Large. Mega. 1 of 10 in a millennium. A century. Yes. Josh Gad. Put to work. Maybe musicals for Horizontal 6. No, but we are no, it's okay. I see where your head's at. I like where we're going. Put to work. Charge work. Like some socks and chess players. Goated. Like some socks and chess players. Holy? Return to a PC keyboard. And this frickin' hyphen thing again. Sprang at. Nice one. You got me. Singer James Kappa. I don't know. See what I mean? This is just a shame. The Knights of the Shadowy Side. 22 down, definitely LeBron. Yeah. I think you nailed it. Shadowy Side group in Star Wars. I don't watch Star Wars enough. I'm sorry, okay. Former member of One Direction. Nope. Poetic contraction that omits a V. Might to Shakespeare. More hyphens. The hyphen stuff, I'm just gonna like, that's just messed up. What button was edit to the messages app? Jokesters. Now I think that a few is wrong. Go out with. See? Downton Abbey and Shogun. Those are all both television shows. Spoiled. Far from fresh. Spoil. No. Mixing thematic elements or a feature of this puzzle. I don't know. Dave something. Mr. Reed to Jane Ira. People celebrated worldwide on March 8th. What happens? What happened to me? I don't know. Bird related prefix. One of them. There she goes. There she goes. Okay, I'm gonna come back to that later on my own time. But you see that we got like what we think is maybe 8 of the 72 correct ones. So, you know, some room to improve on that front. I swear that it's easier than that usually, but people don't like that. I don't like what they're trying to do to me. I will say, I want to give an update on my portrait short that we talked about last time. The portrait short called Good Old Horace, about the watch in the antique shop. Good old Horace. I got some feedback on it that I thought was, some of it was helpful and some of it was very funny to me. The feedback I got for this was that we read through it and I had, you know, some other people do the character voices because that's how the class works. And so we read through and people really responded well to it, like my classmates and whatnot. And it's kind of the professor's job to have a problem with everything, or to, you know, critique, give stuff. But if you were reading it with us the other day, you remember that Horace, this watch, is a southern kind of watch. He talks like, not much of a talker, huh? Then we'll get along just fine. I like a good listener. I can trust someone who knows how to keep their mouth shut. Unlike my friend over there, the man's always talking customers' ears off. No wonder nobody buys nothing. You know, he talks like that. And, you know, Herschel, the owner of the watch, also kind of talks like that. Because, like, you know, they're connected. But my professor was like, wouldn't it be more interesting for the story if the watch, like, it doesn't make sense. Why does he talk in a southern accent? Wouldn't the watch be more realistic if he talked in like a Swiss or a German accent? Because, you know, like, Swiss and German watches are a thing. He's like, I've never heard of a southern watch. And I was like, in my head, this is one of the silliest notes I've ever gotten. You're telling me that you don't think it's realistic that the watch is talking in a southern accent versus a German or Swiss accent. you know that watches don't talk normally, right? Like, it was just such a silly note that, and you go through, it's most of it is dialogue from Horace, because that's the assignment, is it's like a character study, and like, it was just so funny. The bigger like feedback that was more helpful was how I tried to tell it from like a first person perspective. Like, you know, the camera was moving around and looking around like the character April, and that one I understand more, but the idea that like he also just didn't think that people would sit and watch it for however long this is, 6 minutes. He thought that it was too boring, because like I wasn't including like different cuts and different angles of what was going on, which I can understand, maybe, but it was a very interesting note that I was given on this. And yeah, I don't know what to think about that. I mean, I think I'm gonna keep it as is when it comes to the dialogue, because that I think just comes down to like your taste and your, like, the whole thing with his character is that he talks like that, and so it would be weird for me to change it, and it would totally take away his character's vibe, which is this sweet, like, you know, old guy. Like, I know old guys can be not Southern, I understand that, but whenever I think of an old person's voice, just based on my experience, I just immediately go to that, like, that grizzled and that Southern, like, you get off my lawn, you know, kind of thing. So, I don't know, but we'll see how it reflects in the actual grade. We'll see, we'll see how that's taken, but I had a lot of fun writing it. I wish I could have written it on stream, but alas, there was not the time there. Do we want to react to a trailer? Movie trailer? Anybody? I kind of want to react to a movie trailer. There was a movie trailer that I saw came out earlier today. I had heard of it, but I didn't know much about it. It's called The Fountain of Youth. And it's got a few people I know in it. 5 hours ago. Oh, this is a new trailer. I see. Well, I haven't even seen the first trailer, but I guess I'll watch the trailer that came out today. No, this is I don't know anything about this movie. I just know John Krasinski's in it. And Natalie Portman, and it's, I think, a comedy. I don't know, but I wanna take a look, see what's going on here, and let me just update my text here. So much text, so much to do, and so little time. Has anyone else heard of this movie, Fountain of Youth? I've literally never even, I don't know anything about it. And you know what? Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's best to go in untainted by spoilers and the like. But I don't know. Some people really want to know as much about the movie before they watch it, which, you know, fair enough, but you're kind of you're kind of building yourself up, setting yourself up for disappointment if you go in and it's like, I already knew everything that was going to happen. It's like, yeah, obviously. Okay. Let's take a look here. Fountain of Youth. Make sure the audio's up, and let's just take a look here.
Watch out! Coming through!
Did you know your brother's linked to a string of high-profile art thefts?
That he did not mention.
Can you at least tell me where he is?
If I knew where he was, you'd be the first to know. He's put me in somewhat awkward position. Luke! What are you doing?
It's like Dad said, the reward is in the journey.
Not when the journey ends in jail.
Oh, I'm not going to jail.
How do you know that?
Because I've done this. What? And it never ends in jail.
Sometimes it ends in jail.
Please.
Good song.
I'm still wondering why I'm here.
There's one story. 5 continents over thousands of years.
We're looking for the fountain of youth.
And you do?
I do the money.
Do you have a boat?
Yes, I do.
Do you have a plane?
Pack your bags.
You coming?
Well, if you're going.
Okay, Guy Ritchie.
In the 1600s, 6 artists hid a clue in their paintings.
Dad spent most of his life searching for it. What do you expect to get from the fountain?
I want Dad to get his recognition.
The fountain is too powerful and dangerous for mankind.
Great voice.
For
Is that
thousands
Stanley
of
Tucci?
years, we have ensured that it remained hidden.
Love Stanley
You're a
Tucci.
child flying a kite in a lightning storm. Stop it now, or we will stop you.
Do you think we should just get the kiss out of the way now? No. All right. We'll come back to that.
Don't copyright claim me
There's a
over this
power
one.
in there beyond any of our comprehension. I can feel it. Told you it'd be an adventure.
Fountain of Youth. All right. Apple TV, May 23rd. Interesting. I did not know that Guy Ritchie was directing this. It looks fun. It reminds me of National Treasure a lot. Who directed National Treasure? It wasn't Guy Ritchie. No, it was some random guy. It looks fun. I like John Krasinski a lot. Though it's hard because of how much I've watched him in The Office to see him as anyone other than Jim. But I know he's also done like Jack Ryan. Is that what it's called? Jack Ryan. Yeah. So he's done like, the more serious roles, and I'm pretty sure Jack Ryan's also like an action thriller type thing. So that looks fun. I love Stanley Tucci's voice and him as an actor. So yeah, that looks cool. I'll have to see how that plays. Also, Natalie Portman, she's in some things that I like. She's also in some things I don't like, but I don't know if that's necessarily her fault. I do want to review a movie with you guys. Have you guys ever, guys and gals, I should say, have you ever heard of the film Bonhoeffer? I think officially it's called Bonhoeffer, Pastor, Spy, Assassin, which is a bit of a misnomer because they don't really, well, for starters, they kind of lie about that a little bit. And by lie, I mean they take creative liberties with that. Because the real life guy, this is like based off a true guy, the real life guy was not really proven to be part of the killing Hitler sort of operation. I think it was rumored because his brother was a part of it, but they really like indulge and deep dive into that. But I watched this the other night for the podcast, Christians in Cinema. We were watching it, and we're gonna film our episode on it because it is related to this pastor during wow, that's loud. It is related to this pastor during World War II. And his story in itself is pretty cool. And he was a martyr, and he basically spoke up for the truth a lot as Germany, or the Nazis and Hitler was kind of taking over Germany and taking over the Catholic Church in Germany. So that much was cool. As far as the movie goes, it kind of had me lost at some moments. It was really hard to tell which parts were fictionalized and which parts were supposed to be real, because it seems like they're trying to like quote a lot of things from him and from the books he read, or the books he wrote. But from what I researched afterwards, apparently a lot of the quotes he said were just not true, not quotes that he had actually said. And then the name of the movie being Bonhoeffer, Pastor, Spy, Assassin, I think it really is just like kind of a tactic to get people to watch the movie. Cause they barely, he wasn't an assassin, first of all, at all. Like, even if he was part of the planning process of like the attempted assassination on Hitler, like, he was not the person directly involved with that. And then they call him a spy, and they try to set it up like you're gonna be a spy for the Catholic Church. But really, he just kind of goes to the UK and he asks them for support on in like fighting Hitler in the church. So like, I don't know how I feel about naming your movie Bonhoeffer, Pastor, Spy, Assassin, when 2 out of the 3 of those things just were not true in real life and weren't really true in the movie that you made. But that being said, let's go on Letterboxd here and let's give our little review. Hold on, let me pull it up here. Review or log. No, we need better. We need our review glasses and music on for this. Bonhoeffer, Pastor, Spy, Assassin. Yes. Bonhoeffer, Pastor, Spy, Assassin. I had high hopes and expectations for this movie, as it was promised yet another side of World War II that I had not yet seen. I did not know too much about Dietrich Bonhoeffer for entering the film, and upon leaving the film, I'm not sure. Oh, come back to me. Okay. And upon leaving the film, I'm not quite sure if I know much more than a Google search would have provided. It had some punchy dialogue in moments, but in the end, the emotional resonance sort of fell flat. I think it was a good story to try and tell, but branding yourself as a spy thriller when that in fact is not what it tries to be seems in poor taste. Maybe, oh, did I deleted my face cam. And this. I hit a lot of buttons there. Seems in poor taste. What was I gonna say? maybe in the future, movies will not have to be falsely, here I should say, faith related, dang it, related movies will not have to be falsely advertised. Also, I spelled falsely wrong. What, how do you spell it? Falsely? Falsely advertised in order to get people interested. But sadly, probably not. Rating. What's our rating here? I don't know. What are we thinking? Yeah. I mean, it was all right. It wasn't horrendous or anything, but I would have liked a little more out of it, to be honest. Save. Check. Done that. X marks the spot. Get that out of here. Yeah, that was Bonhoeffer. That was your Isaac movie review for the day. I still need to get to theaters to watch King of Kings, and see what that's all about. What else was I gonna do? Oh yeah, we've got more movie news that I wanted to talk about. If we can go here to The Hollywood Reporter. Am I right or am I right? Pull it back up. Whoop. Movie news, ladies and gents. We're in it. This is getting real. Can we extend this? Perhaps. I mean, yeah, that's fine. This is great. This is great. Just come right here. I thought this was interesting. I saw that they did an interview with David Harbour, the man we know and love from Stranger Things, as Detective Jim Hopper, I should say. I love that this is the opening picture of him carrying his Wheaties with the Thunderbolts on it. But anyway, they did a little interview with him, or I guess the British GQ did, and he was talking about his character and how he thought that Jim Hopper was gonna die in season 1, which is kind of nuts to me. Like, can you imagine how different the story would be if that were the case? Like, dude, sorry, that's loud. That's not too bad. What does he say here? He says he thought Hopper, although there was a moment when fans thought Hopper did die at the end of season 3, Harbour understands if the fans were doubtful when he returned in season 4. He said, I think they were just committed to the beauty of that moment of his death. Harbour said, it was so moving, I think they almost didn't want him to be alive. Now as the Duffer Brothers created show prepares to release its 5th and final season, Harbour teased that his character didn't get any breaks when it came to brutal physicality in the last installment. He says, we shot a lot of nights and there's a lot of action and we're fighting evil in a very direct way. The Thunderbolt star said Hopper is a man of action. There's a lot of running around. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting, this section here where he's talking about his death. Not, spoiler alert for Stranger Things, but it does make it seem like he dies at the end of season 3, and then they have this whole nice long monologue with him and 11, Jane, reading his like final notes to her. Like, it's so heartbreaking, and I was ready for him to be dead, like I wasn't ready. I was sad, but I totally had processed that as if he was dead. But then they even had that post-credit scene where it's like, no, do not kill, not the American. So they were already teasing that he was alive, but I don't know, the way that they covered his death really made it seem like he was gone for good. And it left a great end to the season. So I am almost not sure how I feel about them not killing him, but I mean, I'm glad he's still in the show, but I just thought that was interesting. Yeah, I mean, I was committed to the beauty of that moment, and oh gosh, and his death. No, don't do this. It really was moving, and I don't know, if you've seen the show, let me know how you think about it, but I just always thought that was, that could have been a really nice moment. In other news, Ryan Reynolds just, he also did an interview for the Time 100 Summit, and he talks about his time on Green Lantern, which, if you don't know, is famously a horrible superhero movie that he starred in. And he talks about how that it kind of goes with the philosophy of creativity that I really, good grief, admire. He says, "I learned all the most amazing lessons I could ever have in the creative space from that movie," he said. "On that film, I saw a lot of money being spent on special effects, all sorts of stuff, and I remember suggesting, why don't we write like a scene the way people would talk? I don't know, it could be a fun exchange of dialogue that at all doesn't cost anything. He said he takes the lesson of character over spectacle. Good, let me highlight stuff. Guys, I'm freaking out. Please? Yes. He said he takes the lesson of character over spectacle particularly to heart. He also shared, the greatest superpower I ever had in my life, I'm not just saying about just my career or anything, was knowing who I am. I really like this part because that's often what I find to be true in any like sort of film or media that I like, is character over spectacle. I'd also just like, why don't we write a scene like the way people would talk? I thought that was really funny. As he is a very funny sort of observation. Also, did my screen stop sharing? Hello? Seems like it did. Oh, this also stopped sharing. Hold on. Bring back the music. There we go. Yeah, so David Harbour, Ryan Reynolds, given some little moments of inspiration there. And that was probably the biggest failure, like a flop of the film. Well, maybe not the biggest, but one of the most notable ones from his career. And that really, like, what I say often is like, fail fast and fail loud. Like, you learn so much if you fail quicker, And then just one other thing that I saw earlier is that the Coen brothers are, or at least Ethan Coen, is doing a new feature film with Chris Evans and Margaret Qualley and Aubrey Plaza, which I hadn't heard of, but I love the Coen brothers movies, and I love Chris Evans, and apparently Charlie Day is in it too. Charlie Day's great. Aubrey Plaza, and it's called Honey Don't, and what's it about? Do we know? It just says who other people or what they've worked on and who they're represented by, which is funny. It just means that they don't actually know much about the movie. It says, yeah, we get it that he wrote other movies, but that's all we know, is that just the Coen brothers are doing another movie, and it's gonna be at the Cannes Film Festival, and it's got these guys in it. So I thought that was interesting, even if we don't get to know anything that the movie's about. One other thing that I saw that was interesting today, and then we'll get into the main part of what I actually wanted to look at today, is that Mission Impossible, how they keep making these movies, they released like cast posters today, and I was just scrolling through. I was like interested, like, okay, who's in the cast? Obviously Tom Holland here is in the cast, doing his own stunts as always, and then a few other people that we've seen before in the Mission Impossible movies, you know, classic, bringing them back. A bunch of notable actors. Was a surprise to me. Rebecca from Ted Lasso, also known as Hannah, what's her name? Hannah Waddingham. Hannah Waddingham. She's in it. That's cool. Look, this shocked my head, blew my mind, however you say that. Tramel Tillman from Severance. He's in this. And look, I don't care about the Mission Impossible movies, really. You know, I've seen 4 of them. Like, I haven't seen the newer ones. I think I get it, okay? But the fact that Tramel Tillman, is that how you say Tramel? I'm sorry. He's getting more work. That's great. That's great, because I love this guy. Mr. Milchick. He will always be our milkshake man. So I was really just excited to see that. He probably has a super tiny role, but I love that. And then Ron Swanson, as always. I also forget this guy's name. Nick Offerman, yes. Those were the main things that I was like surprised at and thought was cool. But Tramel Tillman from our favorite show, Severance. Hello, Super Gaming Texan, which, speaking of Severance, we are gonna do what we came here to do originally, which is look at this original lost script of Severance. They only, on this website, they only have this one episode they have the screenplay for, and just on the first glance of the first page, it already looked so different from what I knew from the show. Can I download this and download this file and open it? Yeah. I just took a quick look at it and I was like, this is already so different. First of all, it's called Mr., which is very different already. The opening episode of Severance is called The Good News About Hell. And so I was looking through and there were already so many like differences from the pilot. And I wanted, you know, as we're searching how to make a good pilot and as we're looking through, and this was the script that got Dan Erickson on the board and got Ben Stiller to say, hey, let's make this show. I kind of want to go through, analyze it, talk about the differences between it and the original first episodes. So that's what we're gonna do. Let me see if I can find some music that's like in the vibe here. And also just, you know, fair warning, I don't know what's in the script. Like, this is a first time reaction. I don't know how much of it is going to be true to the original first episode, but if you haven't seen the first episode, there's a possibility that there are spoilers in here for the show or for the first episode of Severance. So I don't know, but we're gonna look into it. And is this gonna be good? No, that's gonna be like Interstellar music. I need like creepy dang it. I need like creepy lo-fi. Is that a thing? Like off-settling. What I really want is Apple TV put out a stream that was like, it was called Music to Refine To. And it was like lo-fi, basically Severance music from the show, which was so fun because I literally, as I was writing, I was writing a short story, and it was a very like science fiction short story. And so I was reading through it, and it was very inspired by Severance, and I was listening literally just for hours at the at the music to Refine To. This is like Halloween music. I don't know, man. we'll just have to probably go with like lo-fi. Yes, oh no, spoilers, just fair warning. Again, this is only the pilot, so it might be fairly okay, fairly spoiler free, but just fair warning. And again, this is not the original pilot, or this is not the pilot that they ended up shooting. So we'll just have to see. All right, let's get into it. And as we go, I'm going to point out things I remember from the first episode and things that are different with it. So this is Severance, the lost episode, called Mr., written by Dan Erickson. Great writer. Let's take a look. Interior boardroom day. A naked man lies face up, unconscious, on a large oak table. The room around him is comfortable but sterile. There are no windows, and the only light buzzes from the fluorescent panels above. Pastel prints line the beige walls. This is Mark, mid-30s. He's tall and thin, his hair neatly combed, his breath slow but even. Suddenly, Mark's eyes shoot open and he bolts to a sitting position. He gasps as his eyes dart around the room. For a very long moment, all is quiet. Hello? He tries to get to his knees, but they give way as he tumbles off the table. Shakily, he moves towards the door. He tries to open it, but it's locked solidly. He turns back to the room. Where the hell am I? At the far end of the table is mounted a small black intercom. It clicks on, emitting a man's voice. Who are you? Mark, what? Who are you? Who the hell are you? Brief pause. I'm sorry, sir, I got ahead of myself. What is this place? Open the damn door. So already, first page, we just have to say, a naked man lies face up. First of all, crazy imagery, but very different immediately from what we know from the Severance pilot, right? Like, this is the opening shot, and we've talked about this before. This is the opening shot of the show. We've got, it's cool that we see what stayed and what went. We've got the oak table. We've got the person lying down, but it's not a man, and it's not a naked person. And we know that Mark is like our main guy, is our main character, and the man's voice actually is Mark in the original episode. So already they're starting from a place where Mark's the one on the table, and they changed that to Helly. So already super different, but yet similar. Like this dialogue here, I'm sorry, sir, I got ahead of myself. Also, this description here feels like it could describe the whole show. The room around him is comfortable but sterile. There are no windows, and the only light buzzes from the fluorescent panels above. Pastel prints line the beige walls. That feels like it already gives the visual look for the whole show. But you can see here on the first page, like, even though we don't have any visuals, it's already giving so many of these questions, you know? Like, this is a strong first sentence, right? Like, unconscious on a large oak table, and then the type of room he's in. It's like, what is going on here? And then he doesn't know. All right, he's trapped here. Let's keep going. Do you have a few moments to take a quick survey? What? 6 questions. I feel confident it will benefit us both. What? No, let me out of this room. Okay, thank you for your time. It clicks off. Hey. Mark scours the room but can find no other way out. He returns to the door, twisting hard on the knob. He kicks at it, but his weak legs give out, and once again he falls to the floor. Damn it. He lays on the carpet, breathing heavily. Hey, you there. The intercom clicks on. I'm here. 6 questions? Yes, sir. What do I get at the end? Depends on your answers. Let's keep going. Mark sighs. Well, since you seem to have caught me between things, who are you? Pause. That's the first question. A first name will do. This is interesting. You're already getting a bit of like Mark's sarcasm here, which we don't get immediately from Helly. But this dialogue, like this sequence of events, the pulling at the door, falling, like this all happens to Helly, and then the 6 questions and depends on your answers, that's all the same. Yeah, who are you? That's the first question. A first name will do. Mark looks around the room. He furrows his brow. What do I do if I don't know? Unknown. Okay, great. Question 2. In which U.S. state were you born? Wait a minute. Which state, please? I don't know. Unknown. Terrific. Question 3. What is the name of a U.S. state? First that comes to mind. Delaware. Question 4. Who killed Mr. and how did he die? That one makes no sense. Unknown? Sure. Whoa, this is different. Who killed Mr. and how did he die? I think originally, or I say originally, this was original, but from the actual show, the question was, what is Mr. Egan's favorite breakfast? I believe is the 4th question here. Also, I think originally it's only 5 questions and not 6 questions. Who killed Mr. and how did he die? That one makes no sense. Unknown, sure. Question 5. Have you done any intravenous drugs today? Something like that. What's going on? Please answer question 5. I don't know. I don't even know what day it is. This question was not included. I think this is the extra question. Unknown. Question 6. By your closest approximation, what was or is the color of your mother's eyes? Mark stares up at the ceiling, his breath growing fast. A tear slides down his temple. Pause. Unknown. Applicant's response record is unknown, unknown, Delaware, unknown, unknown, and unknown. Mark, please tell me what's happening to me. All at once, the door unlatches and creaks open. A perfect score. Very impressive. Mark stares through the door. He can only see darkness. Right this way. End of prologue. All right. So, this is very interesting here. The hook of this show is only 4 pages long. And this is something to keep in note as we are building the start of our show of Soul Reader, which it's being called right now. First 4 pages, we've introduced a lot of questions, and we've introduced this character who originally is Mark, but we now know ends up being Helly. Which I'm curious to see where this episode goes, to see how they structured it, because we don't get to see this happen to Mark. Later in the show, we come back and he talks about how, hey, I woke up on this same table, but we never get to actually see this moment with him, and obviously we get no indication that he was naked or something. But I think that probably like adds to the intrigue of it, of like, what is happening here? Why are these questions so weird? Who is Mr.? Like, the elements I see here in this prologue immediately are, we're setting up a question of this character, Mark, and this character, and the situation he's in. Like, so much is unknown. Like, he doesn't know the state he was born in, but he does know one state. This question here, which ends up becoming like Mr. Egan, but this question here already gives a sense of, okay, there's some bigger like organizational or weird thing going on here. And then the perfect score indicates that like something expected is happening here. I'm very impressed and taking notes mentally on what he's doing here and how he introduces these characters. Because usually you introduce characters by their names and then capitalize it the first time they're in a script. And you can choose how much you want to give. Like, different screenwriters do it differently. Sometimes they just give Mark mid-30s. Here he gives the full description because he is such a like pivotal character. Like, the main description we get is he's tall and thin, and then the hair neatly combed more applies to like his situation right then and there, and his breasts low but even, which already this sort of imagery and the things they're pointing out, like it's already giving kind of a tone of the show, which is like this artificial neatness, and the fact that like, yeah, his hair is combed, we're gonna point that out, but also he's like literally lying on an oak table naked. So it's like there's something off here, but everyone's pretending like there's not. So interesting. I think maybe they took this question out because, I don't know, maybe 5 is a better, like 5 questions is a rounder number, even though, yeah, it's like a round number. And then this maybe like lets on too much of what's happening, and you want to kind of leave this opening literally, I don't know what's happening, but I have all these questions. And then of course you feel for this man Mark already, because he's seemingly trapped. He doesn't know who he is. And then obviously I think this last question here is so smart, because it immediately puts you in the place of like, oh my gosh, what are my mother's, what's the color of my mother's eyes, and what would I do if I couldn't remember that? And then the tear sliding down his temple, like we're building that emotional connection. Very interesting stuff here. Trying to think if there's anything else I could point out. I'm so curious to see where this goes, because this is already so different. Because when we enter the show, Mark is already established at Lumen, and it's Helly's first day. But this seems like Mark's first day. And so I wonder if we're going back in time, if Helly is even going to be in this version of the script. I don't know. But I guess there's only one way to find out. So let's keep going. End of prologue, Act 1. Interior darkened hall day. Mark creeps cautiously down a thin, unlit hall. The hall is full of sharp twists, preventing Mark from seeing more than a few feet ahead. Ahead is a bend around which Mark can see light. Okay, pause. This is interesting already, and I was gonna take a drink of water. I'm kind of out of water. I had like a drop in it. This reminds me of, well, it reminds me of two things. It reminds me of the hall to the testing floor that we know about. It also reminds me of the finale of season 2, where all the halls are unlit and like it's dark and it's turning, and it's that creepy sort of vibe. All right, I'll keep going. Interior orientation chamber day. Mark steps out into a small, dimly lit room. In the center of the room is a table at which sit a man and a woman. Frank Milchick, 35, is a big and brawny, despite his dainty glasses perched atop his nose. In front of him is a microphone. He is the voice. His is the voice from the other room. Harmony Cobell, 40, is small, curt, and well kept, her hair in a tight bun. She takes notes, never looking up. Weird. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we got Frank Milchick, versus Seth Milchick. Harmony Cobell is the same. 40 seems a little young from where we know her, but give or take. Big and brawny. The glasses is new. That's fun. I also really hope that this doesn't it might be cool, but I hope it doesn't spoil some plot point they're going to do. But I guess, well, that's the risk we take. Interesting. And she's taking notes. I'm just trying to take mental notes on these, the way they're doing these character introductions, because they only introduced Mark. They introduced Mark as just Mark and not Mark S or Mark Scout. Because first they capitalize a naked man, and then when we know a little more who he is, they give him the capitalized Mark. And then we hear a man's voice, which is apparently Milchick, which is way different than what Mark talks about having experience, because in the original, Mark says that Petey was the one who talked to him. And so I'm wondering, is this small room is this Cobell's office? Is this supposed to be where they're refining? I don't know. Also, Cobell's hair in a bun and the way they're describing her makes her seem like more of a secretary, and like Milchick is something else. But let's keep looking. Milchick looks up and smiles. That classic Milchick smile. Milchick smiles. Hold on, look, we need a visual here. There it is. That like fake corporate smile, but his eyes are like dead. Yeah, that's the Milchick we know and love. Oh shoot, there we go. Milchick looks up and smiles. Mark, how do you do his voice? Mark, 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 come, have a seat. Mark glances at a door on the other side of the room. Who are you? Frank Milchick, PR. I'll be facilitating your orientation today. Orientation for what? It'd be just terrific if you had a seat. Already using those big words, which we know is a character trait. Mark slowly walks over and sits across from them. Milchick organizes documents, excited but nervous. Interesting. Okay, well, first and foremost, I'd like to congratulate you on behalf of all our staff at all levels of seniority and of all races and sexual genders on passing your entrance exam. Really stellar work. Delaware. Again, entrance to what? Milchick smiles. Looks down and clears his throat. Mark, Mr. Scout. Your last name's Scout. Mr. Scout, we have selected you as the secondary conversion analyst for our data culling team. You have graciously accepted. I haven't graciously accepted shit. That's a great opinion and boldly expressed, but I do have the paperwork here. Ooh, okay, interesting. We already see Mark's rebellious nature, which I think somehow... here's what's interesting here. This feels more like Audi Mark that we know. Like his personality. We know any Mark's personality is a lot more like happy and like kind of giving in to the vibe of the company. At the same time, we do know that originally Mark said that he had like threatened to kill Petey or something. Like he was also against everything, as you would be if you were suddenly trapped. Also, instead of macro data refinement, we have data culling team. Interesting. Secondary conversion analyst. A lot of big words here. This is already so funny. That's a great opinion and boldly expressed, but I do have the paperwork here. So good. He slides it across the table. Mark snatches it up. At the bottom is a series of signatures, his included. I didn't sign this. Let's take a step back. He needs pants. What? By this point in the orientation, the applicant should have been offered pants. It's the first step in preparing him for the video. Of course. Sorry, ma'am. Okay. First of all, I totally forgot that he is completely naked at this point still. I don't know why I imagined differently. That's kind of funny. And now I'm curious, is Cobell still in the seat of power? Because Milchick seems to be like, of course, sorry, ma'am, and preparing him for the video. I definitely think they should give him some pants. Super Gaming texts in says, I haven't seen the show, but it's interesting to hear about the differences. Listen, this show's not, like, I would say this show's not for everyone. The show is for everyone. People struggle getting into Severance because it starts slow. And then picks up later, which I can understand. but if you ever get a chance, like, you should watch this show. And I know it's like on Apple TV, and if you don't have that, it's like, why would I buy another streaming service? Like, totally valid, I understand. But if you ever get the chance, if you can steal someone's Apple TV subscription, like, dude, this show is amazing. It's so good. I'll stop there and continue. They're both like, what? He needs pants. This is so fascinating to me. I feel like I'm getting a peek behind the curtain of the thought process. But let's keep going. Don't apologize to me. Whoa, someone's hammering on my walls. Milchick turns back to Mark. He produces a well-folded pair of black pants from under the table. Was he just holding that? Mr. Scout, at this time, I'd like to offer you this pair of empty black pants, along with a sincere apology for not having offered said pants earlier. Do you accept the empty black pants, and or the apology, which I assure you is anything but empty? Mark stares at Milchick for a long moment. All at once, Mark leaps from his seat and runs for the door. Mr. Scout! Mark bursts through the door. Cobell keeps writing. Well, how did that feel to you? Bad. It was very bad. Milchick gets up to follow Mark. I gotta say, like, I don't think I appreciated enough watching the show, but getting to read through this here, I love Dan Erickson's comedy through his writing, and I think maybe that's what appeals, like, part of what appealed also to Ben Stiller, other than like it's just a cool, amazing concept and pilot, is like, look at the dialogue here is like this weird, like, corporate, like, politeness that, like, doesn't really make sense. Like, the way he keeps saying empty black pants. Like, obviously they're empty, but he's not just saying pants, he's saying empty black pants. Do you accept the empty black pants or the apology, which I assure you is anything but empty? Like, that weird, false, like, corporate humor. So, like, off-putting and funny. And then, of course, Mark runs away, as anyone would. It was very bad. Milchick gives up to follow Mark. Interior main office day. Mark, still naked, thank you for the reminder, runs out into the middle of a bustling office. The room is vast and white. The ceiling is very high. Everything is bathed in a sterile light, which seems to emanate from all surfaces. The majority of the room is surprised with a wide maze of cubicle walls made of a vaguely translucent glass. Interesting. The workers weave busily around, some of their forms obscured by the crystalline cubicle walls. Their hurried footprints combine with the dim hum of routers and printers. Mark looks around, panting heavily. One by one, the office dwellers notice him and stop, shocked. I'm being held here. I'm being held against my will. He glances up. Near the high ceiling is a small window, behind which is a hallway. A thin, bald man stands at the window watching the commotion. A plump security guard approaches Mark. Sir, I'd be happy to escort you to your workspace. Mark turns and runs, knocking over the security guard. He runs into the maze of cubicles, nearly tripping over the tangle of computer wires that populate the floor as workers dive out of his way. He hears footsteps approach from around a corner. He ducks behind a copy machine. A line of guards run past. Looking up, Mark spies an exit sign, but no path through the cubicles. With a running start, Mark leaps onto a table and over one of the walls. He crashes down atop a table on the other side. Seeing the exit, Mark breaks into a run. Okay, getting a lot of interesting imagery here already. I know I just said this show starts slow. This is way more like hype, amped up and energetic than the start of this show goes, because this show is a lot of like a slow burn and like a mysterious what's happening, and we're getting pieces of that, but this is very different with like this maze of cubicles and people, like many people working there. And then we get introduced to, there's a bald man or something. Don't know who that is. There's a security guard. I'm assuming that's someone we might know. This is very interesting already, his like escape plan. And also like wouldn't they be prepared for this, for someone to like run away in this situation? I don't know. Very fascinating. I had another thought. Yeah, it's just starting very differently than I expected already. And that imagery there, oh, there's the Milchick smile. That imagery there reminds me of some of the imagery from the intro here, which I can't play the music to, but if you look at this shot here from the intro, yeah, it's a very faster open. You check out that, like, that there looks like, first of all, one of the coolest TV intros of all time, but this looks a little more like the maze of cubicles and desks. Hello, story time. Yes, it definitely feels like a faster open. Macro data refinement images. Like, this is the extent of what they get. They get one empty room with like a desk for them to work at. It's not like all of these different people working there. And so already this imagery of looking around, and there's a high ceiling and workers bustling around, and a wide maze of cubicle walls. Very, very interesting. Just to catch you up, story time, we're looking through the pilot here, the original written pilot for Severance, and it's so different already from the actual show, because we open with Mark on the table instead of Helly, and he's naked, and the man's voice who's talking to him and asking him the 6 questions is Milchick, and Milchick and Cobell are like interviewing him, and now he's running away from this interview. This is crazy already. Very different, but like it's the same and different. I know, it's like, it's so weird. You'll have to go back and read through it. But yeah, now it's a very like much faster, more intense start already. And also this episode is called Mr. instead of Good News About Hell, and they've already asked a question about like Mr. instead of like Mr. Egan. That image of the animated intro, that makes it look like a maze and makes the people look like robots. Yeah, I mean, you definitely can already see the inspiration from like the words of the screenplay just in this like this intro imagery here. So yeah, it's crazy. Let's see where Mark goes from here. Interior stairwell day. We know about the stairwell. Mark bursts through the stairwell door and runs down the stairs, tripping over his feet as he goes. Spinning around on a middle landing, he comes face to face with Helly Riggs, 19, small but quietly fierce. She smirks. First day? What? Dude, wait a second. Mark scoots around her and continues down the stairs. So much is happening here. Helly Riggs? Helly R? Dude. Okay, I'll try not to spoil it because it's a big plot point in the show. But her last name is not Riggs. Okay, it's a different last name. But they use the name Helly R to like hide her last name. But we never get an explanation for what the R is. And originally she was called Helly Riggs. Also 19 years old. Helly is not 19 in the show. Small but quietly fierce. She smirks first day. So Helly is there before Mark. Like in the show, Mark is the one that gives Helly the orientation. Here, Helly is the one that was here first. This is so weird. This is so crazy. Let's keep going. Interior lobby day. Mark bursts out of the stairwell and into a spacious lobby. The granite walls are accentuated by hanging plants and many fountains. Ahead is a security checkpoint where a mustached guard scans incoming employees with an electric wand. Beyond them is a bank of glass doors, but a concrete wall beyond it blocks any view of the outside. An elevator door opens and Milchick and Cobell emerge. Mr. Scout! Mark launches himself toward the security checkpoint. The mustached guard moves to intercept him. Hold it, sir. Mark elbows the guard hard in the eye and tries to leap over a ribbon partition. The guard grabs him by the foot. Just let him go, Mark. Mark kicks the guard and gets to his feet. It doesn't matter. Let him go. Mark darts across the entryway, past the security checkpoint, and through the exit door. Okay, already getting a lot of different imagery. The severed floor, which I don't even know if they're doing, like, they haven't even introduced the severance part of this yet. But on the severed floor, it's very, like, constricted. There's not these, like, big lobbies. Like, this feels more like the outside room, you know? Lumen Industries. If there's a good picture. Is this it? Well, this is a picture of the real life place, which is a place in real life, by the way, where they shot. It's really cool. I'm trying to find Lumen Industries lobby. Yeah. I mean, here it is. This is like from the opening shot. This feels more like the imagery we're getting here, and I imagine there's like security guards up here, but like you can't access that in the show. Anyways, Milchick and Cobell are there. They're like, stop, and I'm curious what's gonna happen here. And then we jump to interior lobby day. The light is suddenly different, indicating late afternoon. The room is far less busy. Mark steps into the door he just ran out of. He's dressed in a simple black suit and tie. Keep in mind, he was naked running through all this time, which is crazy to think about. He was naked when he ran past 19-year-old Helly. He looks to his left. The mustached guard sits in a folding chair, holding an ice pack over his eye and glaring at Mark. How you feeling? I'm going to say it already. Cobell's character feels very different. And maybe that had to do with like the actress, Patricia Arquette, they got for her, but her dialogue feels different already. Okay, so this is how they do the severed like stuff. And they write that he steps back into the door he just ran out of, except now he has clothes on and now it's later on. Mark whips around to see Cobell standing next to him. She smiles. How am I? Relax. There's a lot that needs to be explained to you. Are you familiar with morons, Mark? Morons? Idiots, simpletons. Unfortunately, they have a king who I brilliantly placed in charge of your orientation today. I apologize for that. Dang, she's roasting Milchick. She just said the king of the morons is Milchick. Mark looks at his hands, which are sunburnt. Weird. Why is my skin warm? Same reason you feel suddenly calmer than before. You and I just had a 2-hour walk together. What? We went to a park. You fed apples to a horse. It was sweet. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Why would I go on a walk with you? Because outside of this office, you and I are already good friends. He stares at her confused. She puts her arm around him. Mark, my mother was Catholic. Not a very good Catholic. When I had a bad day, she used to tell me my angels had a hangover. Right now, you probably just feel like your angels just OD'd on heroin. Yes, fetid moppet. This is interesting. And now I'm trying to remember what happens in the show, and I'm realizing something. This line of dialogue, this is the first line of dialogue in a minute that has been the same as the show. And Cobell says this to Mark, this is true, but she says it on the outside when she's playing as Miss Selvig. So when Miss Cobell is pretending to be Miss Selvig, she says this. She talks to Mark on the inside about her mother, but she says her mother is an atheist when she's inside. And when she's outside, she says, Mark, my mother's a Catholic. I think this motherly feeling we're getting here is that inside Cobell is a lot closer to who we know as Miss Selvig. Maybe. That's what I'm kind of getting here. Also, we're immediately getting into this, her describing and explaining what's happening here. Anyways, let's go. You could say that. Well, the good thing about angels is there's a buttload of them. And when your angels OD, it's never too terribly hard to find some new ones. Mark says nothing. Super cryptic. Cobell turns and walks toward the elevators. Let's go find some new angels. Mark stares after her for a moment and then follows. End of Act 1. Weird. Cool. Very cool. And very different already. And it seems like Dan is letting there be some sort of cliffhanger at the end of each act. Because like we had the end of the prologue here, right? Which is the like, that's a perfect score. Very impressive. Right this way. And then it's like, okay, what's right this way? And then at the end of this act here, Cobell has that line where she's like, let's go find some new angels. Like both of those sound like they could be like the final lines of an episode, you know? So it's this really cool, like the dialogue itself is really interesting already, but it's cool how he's structuring it in these acts where you want to keep watching like in the middle of it, leaving like cliffhangers in the middle. It's weird. It's cool. She already has that very weird, like mystical, what on earth are you saying kind of dialogue though. All right, let's keep going. Act 2, interior culling office day. Irving, bailiff, 65, sure, sits under his desk. Irving is heavy and bald, but his demeanor is childlike. Dude, we got Irving. Wait, but heavy and bald, that sounds more like Dylan. So is Irving, are Irving and Dylan two characters that are combined that they later split up? I don't know. On the carpet in front of him sit a dozen small objects, a snow globe paperweight, a couple of glue sticks, a handheld pencil sharpener. Where are the finger traps? As two co-workers converse unseen, Irving arranges the objects in a rough circle. Oh, never mind. Dylan, off screen. Just seems soon to bring on a rook. The ink ain't dry on Petey yet. Helly. We need a fourth. We can't do the job without a fourth. Well, then maybe you shouldn't have. Petey got exactly what he wanted. Besides, they've been training this guy for months. It would have happened eventually. Just seems soon. Irving completes the circle and starts placing objects in the middle. You really saw this guy's dick? Just for a second. Mark never knew Petey in this. Yeah, Mark's the newbie in this, whereas it's Helly in the later in the show. I mean, Dylan's already talking a lot like Dylan. What on earth is going on with Irving here playing with these objects in a circle? You shouldn't go around seeing dicks, you know. It's a uniquely distracting organ, biologically. Well, I didn't exactly seek it out. Just makes me ill, them bringing in some nice guy rook mere days after Petey's departure. I didn't say he was nice-dicked. What? I didn't say that. You said that. Irving finishes the pattern. The objects are now arranged in a crude human face. He smiles at it wistfully. Look, we can... you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of John Locke from Lost. And how he's like old, but it has this like weird happiness about him. Look, we can split hairs all day, or we can prepare like we were told. Where's the welcome sign? Irving's going to do it. And Irving is where exactly? As footsteps approach, Irving hurriedly gathers all the objects back up and puts them in a paper bag. He stows the bag under the far corner of the desk. Helly, the young woman from the stairwell, kneels down to address Irving. Hey, Irving. Irving scoots around to face her. Hello. You having a little dark time? The light hurts my brain. Mine too, which is a good sign. Means we have brains. He smiles. Yeah, big fat ones, she smiles. Hey, I was hoping you'd hang up the welcome sign before the next culling starts. You did promise me. I was worried I'd mess it up and Dylan would tease me. She nods. Have you ever noticed how Dylan never complains about the lights? Yeah. He laughs. She offers him her hand. Come on, let's hang it up together. He takes her hand. Weird, what is going on with Irving here, dude? I need to just keep reading through. Like, I'm gonna take way too long. But Irving, he's so childlike. And Helly is like the leader here. But they're still talking about Petey. That's important to know. I'm also trying to imagine Irving like he's describing as this bald, like bigger guy, even though I know my image of Irving in my head. Weird, dude. Okay. Interior office hall day. Yeah, she's 19. You're right. I keep forgetting. This is 19-year-old Helly. It's kind of playing on like that Mrs. Huang thing, or Miss Huang thing a little bit. Bizarre. Okay, interior office hall day. Mark follows Cobell through the labyrinth of hallways. Are there two buildings? Sorry? When I ran outside, it led right back into the lobby. Are there two identical buildings? You'll be seeing the video this afternoon, which will explain everything. Right now, I want you to meet a few of your colleagues. They reach a door marked calling office, not macro data refinement, calling office. What's the calling office? She opens the door. It's home. She gestures for him to enter. He does. Interior calling office continuous. The office is large, blank, and white. In the center, 4 desks face one another. Like this? Oh. Wait. Like this? I mean, that's kind of like it. 4 desks face one another. Helly sits at one, and to her left is Irving. To her right is Dylan Hogan. Dylan H, not Dylan G, which we know. Dylan is 40, and despite a sense of swagger, looks vaguely diseased. A sense of swagger, but looks diseased. Interesting. I mean, that kind of sounds more like Irving if he wasn't old. I don't know. All 3 type vigorously at clunky, beige computers at their desks. Mark stares at these 3 for a moment. He turns to Cobell. Who are these? But she's gone. He turns back. She Batmaned him. He slowly makes his way towards the center of the room. The others don't look up from what they're doing. Hello? No response. Like stylish, swagger. Hello? I'm Mark. Apparently I'm supposed to be... So why aren't you? Sorry? Why aren't you doing what you're supposed to be doing? They didn't tell me. There's 1 chair without an ass in it. How many asses do you have? 1? Seems fortuitous. Mark stares at Dylan a long moment before moving to the empty chair. He sits. Did you see the sign? The sign? I hung it for you. Helly helped. Mark looks over. Small gold paper letters spelling welcome hang clumsily on the far wall. It's meant to make you feel welcome. What happened? You got it pulled away? Basically, we're getting introduced to characters that we know. Don't tell. I mean, it's the characters, all right? Listen, if you knew how much I had to swear in class as we were doing like table reads and I was getting assigned characters, I'd have a lot in the swear jar. Okay, so... Oh man, Irving. is very interesting. It's meant to make you feel welcome. Yeah, we're just getting introduced to our characters, but they seem very different already than the characters we know. Except for Dylan. Dylan seems to be very consistent, you know? He's got that like quick-witted and kind of jerky sort of stuff. Thank you. He stares at the computer screen in front of him. A series of green symbols, including letters, numbers, and pictographs, moves across it in a single line. Mark glances at Helly, who sits across from him. I don't know what to... The game is to turn the green symbols blue. You have to trick them. They'll fight you. Well, okay. How? Put your fingers on the keys. Your training will kick in. I haven't been. Yes, you have. Mark puts his fingers on the keys and looks at the stream of symbols. He types a few characters into the computer. The stream turns red. I have the power to close my mouth, bestie. Bestie, I'm not going to ruin someone's story by changing one of their characters' dialogue. That's pretty disrespectful to the writer that wrote it. Thank you very much. I haven't been. Yes, you have. He types a few characters into the computer. The stream turns red. They're turning red. Red's bad. I said blue, remember? Listen, who are you people? Keep typing. Mark keeps typing random keys. The symbols continue to come in red. Okay, so slightly different than our macro data refinement. Instead of just trying to put numbers in bins, we're trying to switch colors. So we're getting this like color stimulus. Let's see. Please, I need help, okay? I woke up here an hour ago. I can't remember anything. Sucks chunks, don't it? This happened to all of you? 3 years ago for me, which now makes me the senior employee. By like 2 days. I used to be the baby. Now that you're here, I'm just Irving. What is this place? How do we get out of here? It's all in the video, man. What video? Why is he mad? He's not. Petey was never mad. Who the heck is Petey? You know, culling time tends to be quiet time. To crap with culling time. There's that better for you? To crap with culling time. I don't even know what that is. Language. Sorry. Damn it. For a moment, everyone just types. Dylan rubs his face. It's Mark, you said, right? Yeah? Okay, Mark, do me a favor. Look at your screen. What? Just look. Mark looks. The symbols on his screen have all turned blue. He continues to type letters onto the keyboard, changing the symbols to blue as they appear. I'm turning them blue. Funny that, huh? How am I doing this? Because you were trained to. Mark, I know you're losing your crap right now. I did too. But there's an order to all this, and it will present itself to you in due time. So until that time comes, I need you to just take a breath and trust that you're gonna be okay. Can you do that for me, Mark? Mark takes a deep breath. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. They all keep typing. Long pause. Is he mad because I hung the sign bad? Nah, Irving, you hung the sign great. More typing. Interior culling office men's room day. Mark enters the men's room stall and sits down. He rubs his face, breathing heavily. After a moment, he opens his eyes. He notices a message scratched into the bottom corner of the stall. I'm taking me with me. Don't throw up, okay? Mark straightens up, startled. Helly sits in the stall next to him. Isn't this the men's room? 'Cause if you do, then I will. Then the janitor will have to come through and he hits on me. This is the men's room. The women's gets lonely. Mark takes a deep breath. You're from the stairwell, right? Not originally, but I saw you there. Sorry I was naked. It's cool. It was funny. I'm Helly. He stares ahead, uncomfortable. What's the thing with the letters? Why do we do that? It's called data culling, and I have no idea. You don't know what it means? Nope. I know it's important, though. Uh-huh. And how much of this is going to make sense once I've seen this video everyone keeps talking about? Exactly 4%. He smiles in spite of himself. You're not going to see it, though. Sorry? Not today, anyway. Cobell said something will come up. There will be an inspection or a drill. I was here 6 months before I saw it. Why? She thinks about this a moment. because you're more likely to accept it once they've broken you some. The door opens and Irving sticks his head in. Helly. Hi, Irving. You're supposed to go in the girls' room. You're a girl. I know. I'm sorry. Did you forget? Yeah, I forgot. Can you not tell on me, please? Okay, but I'll write it in my diary. That's good. He leaves. A pause. Is he okay? He's different. He's also by far the fastest caller in the office. The door opens and Irving pops in again. Also, if Mark's in here, tell him that we have an inspection tonight, so they'll show him the video tomorrow. Thanks, Irving. I'll tell him. Irving leaves. A long pause. Is there any way out of here? Long pause. You should watch the video. Thanks, I'll look forward to that. Using her foot, she slides a scrap of toilet paper under the stall wall. I mean, you should watch it now. Mark looks down at the toilet paper scrap. Drawn on it in pen is a crude map. Okay, we are getting introduced to the character dynamics here. And like we've been saying and realizing, Helly is running the show, it would seem. And I'm definitely feeling her character come through. Like, after she's settled into the office, other than the fact that she's very rebellious, like her dialogue and her sense of humor is also very much like coming through, which is cool. And Irving kind of has that feel. I think they've leaned more into like, what did he say? Is he okay? He's different. Yeah, he's different. I wonder if original Irving is supposed to be like on the spectrum, like autistic or something. Because I don't know, they're kind of giving this interesting, like childlike sort of vibe to him. And I think they lean more into like his devotion to the company side when it comes to the actual show. But still, like, you're seeing the differences, but we're also seeing like what things kind of stayed with them. But this role reversal is like freaking my mind out. Interior thin hallway day. Carrying the toilet paper map. Also, the map is something that Petey gives Mark, and he doesn't find it until a few episodes in. You see how much faster this pilot is moving? I have some thoughts about that, but I'm going to save it till the end. Interior thin hallway day. Carrying the toilet paper map, Mark slinks down the empty hall with what he thinks is stealth. He rounds a bend and comes to a long line of doors. As he moves past them, he eyes the map. 3, 4, 5. He reaches the 6th door, marked storage, opens it, and steps inside. Interior storage closet continuous. Mark enters the closet, which is small and cramped and lined on all sides by deep shelves. He shuts the door and turns on the light. He locates this room on the map. Here, Helly has written the word up. Cautiously, Mark looks up, his eyes widening. The narrow closet appears to stretch upward forever, with hundreds of levels of shelves stacked atop one another. The ceiling, if there is one, is not visible. Whoa. Mark looks back at the word up printed on the map. Shit. Dude. How deep is the severed floor? Like, hundreds? Hundreds of levels. That's crazy. I guess we've never gotten a chance to see how deep it really is, but jeez. Interior cooling office day. Helly enters the office to find Milchick standing by the door. Miss Riggs. Mr. Milchick. Have you seen Mr. Scout? No. He's maybe in the bathroom. Milchick looks at the floor. I forgot to offer him pants at the orientation today. Bungled the whole thing like a ninny. Helly nods, empathetic. Interior storage closet day. Mark climbs the shelves, his face drenched in sweat. The floor is no longer visible below. Sheesh. He passes a shelf which contains a symmetrical pile of metallic gold boxes. He rests a foot on this shelf, causing it to creak. He stops. The shelf gives way, sending the gold boxes careening downward. Mark grabs hold of the shelf above him, his feet dangling over the endless darkness below. He struggles to find another foothold. Grimacing, he pulls himself up to the next shelf. He forces himself to look up. About 10 feet above him is a platform and a thin metallic door, like the one he came in. Whoa, there's a door in the void closet? Interior upper hallway, evening. Mark opens the thin door, gasping for breath. This hall is all black. What little light there is seeps out from behind massive closed doors. Distant whispers echo from hidden rooms. Mark shuts the supply closet and starts cautiously down the hall. As he moves, he hears the sound of heavy footsteps approaching. Panicking, he spies a door ajar and ducks through it. Whoa. Interior cubicle room, continuous. Mark scoots into the room, his back against the wall. He shuts his eyes, terrified, as the heavy footsteps pass by outside. They slowly disappear down the hall. Mark opens his eyes. The concrete room is empty, except for a large cubicle. Unlike the ones downstairs, it is a perfect cube, complete with a roof on top. There are no apparent openings. Mark gets up and moves toward the cubicle. Woman's voice, off screen. Is someone out there? Mark's breath stops, but he keeps moving. You can't keep me here. They'll come looking for me. Mark stops inches from the cubicle. He notices an inch-wide gap between the frames and the fabric of one of the walls. He leans in to examine it. Suddenly, a horrible, bloodshot eye peers out. I want to see my baby. Panicking, Mark turns and flees the room. Oh my gosh. Dude, what is this back rooms nonsense? Interior calling office day. Milchick sits in a plastic chair at Helly's desk as she goes over documents. I think the pants were a tertiary issue. The real problem's my personality. I've been told I'm just awful. The door flies open and Cobell enters. Milchick, we've got a security breach upstairs. Security breach upstairs. What? How? Where's Scout? She looks around the room, approaching panic. Interior upper hallway, continuous. Mark runs down the hall. He passes a series of shut doors, his pace growing faster. Dude, this is so similar to the stuff that Miss Casey is going through in season 2. You know? On the testing floor. He suddenly stops. In front of him is a door smaller than the others with a dim green light behind it. It reads Video Archives. He looks at the map. The final destination reads VA. Mark! Mark whips around to see Cobell and Milchick running down the hall towards him. Mark, don't go in there! Mark grabs the handle, but the door is stuck. He yanks again, pulling it open. Interior video archive room, continuous. Mark enters the small cramped room bathed in green light. He slams the door behind him and locks it. All walls are covered with heavy file cabinets. In the corner is a small dusty television with a built-in VCR. Pause. I'm sorry, this is not related to this, but I just remembered that Helly's 19 and she said that she's been there for 3 years, which means she got there when she was 16. Continuing. There's a rapping at the door. Mark, open the door. Mark moves to the end of the room and opens a cabinet. It's full of VHS tapes, each labeled with a name and all carefully alphabetized. I should also point out, none of this stuff that we're reading here has happened in the show. It's catching a general vibe of the space, but this closet that goes up hundreds of stories and climbing it, and this secret floor and this video, none of this is from the show. So you're not getting spoiled of anything so far if you haven't seen the pilot somehow. Sounds like a lot of this stuff gets stretched into multiple seasons. People who watch the show could say it was for better or for worse, but that's interesting to think about. Yeah, it is. And that's one of the main points that I'm taking away from this that we're going to apply to our pilot, or think about applying. But I'm going to keep going before I give those final thoughts. But this is crazy. This is crazy. And again, a lot of these concepts are they have the right vibe, but are not in the show. So it's so interesting. You weren't meant to come up here yet. Please, it's dangerous. Mark moves to another cabinet and opens it. More tapes. Searching, he finds a drawer in the middle of the room and opens it. These tapes are labeled with S names. Rooting through, he finds one marked Scout Mark. He moves to the television and flips it on. The image is of gray static, accompanied by a dull roar. Mark, I know you have questions. If you come out now, I promise I'll explain everything. He pushes in the tape. The static roar stops, and for a moment, the room is quiet. End of Act 2. See what I'm saying? This and this end of Act 2 stuff, this is like, yeah, I know. This is like cliffhanger type stuff that you would only see if like, or that you would expect to see at like the end of the episode, where it's like, don't you dare stop now. Don't you dare stop now. Like it's keeping the tension and building like these new points of tension over and over again throughout. Very interesting, good to look at. Act 3, blackness, screen text 5 days earlier. We're getting a flashback. So this is kind of like that cliffhanger where it's like he pushes it in, what's gonna happen, and then we cut 5 days later, so you don't get to know immediately. Interior, Mark's bedroom, morning. Mark lays asleep on a mattress on the floor. The walls are a gentle blue and the room is outfitted for a baby. In the corner sits a crib. Guys, if you've seen this show all the way through the season 2, you know what the heck is happening. Also, this lady, whoever it is, I don't know who this woman's voice is. She just said, "You can't keep me here. I want to see my baby." Just pointing stuff out. Whoa. A woman's barefoot slowly moves over Mark's face, wrinkling his nose. Mark bolts up. What the crap? His sister, Devin. Oh. Devin stands over him. She's 30 and many, many months pregnant. That much we know is true. That much is consistent. His sister Devin is over him. She's very pregnant. The crib in the corner is for her. That makes sense. Hey, butterfly. Your foot smells like pregnancy. Get up. You need toast. I don't want toast. You're supposed to eat before an interview. Says who? Science? Mark sits up, rubbing his face. I don't want to go. Go for me. I don't think they'll be fooled. Yeah, they will. Just cut your hair, throw on a tie, and have your baby. She smiles and goes to the door. Come have toast. No. I think it gets like kind of overshadowed in the show. I think Dan Erickson has a hilarious sense of humor. And this relationship between them of how they're like, hey, butterfly, and they're back and forth, and they're both witty and sarcastic, and like they're on the same wavelength. Like, that's such a cool dynamic that they have in the show, and they have it here with this brother-sister relationship. That's cool. Interior, Hale household. Kitchen, morning. Mark sits at the table in a shirt and tie, begrudgingly eating toast. Next to him is Rickon, 40, in a silk robe and androgynous glasses. Has the mattress been comfortable? Yes, thanks. What are you going to say at the interview? I don't know. You should mention that you're staying with us. Devin brings over 2 glasses of grapefruit juice. Well, living in the future bedroom of your sister's baby wasn't one of their preferred qualifications. Tolstoy used to live with relatives for years at a time. I'm not interviewing to be the president of Russia. Tolstoy wasn't. He knows, babe. He's screwing with you. No, I was being legitimately dumb that time. Rickon puts his hand on Mark's shoulder. Mark, I think you're gonna get this job. I know things have been hard. Actually, things have been really great since you put your hand on my shoulder 3 seconds ago. Rickon removes his hand. I just think your life is about to get a lot better. Mark stares at him blankly. Thanks for the toast. He gets up and exits. Rickon shoots Devin an annoyed look. Interesting. Well, Mark has that same, he doesn't put up with Rickon really in the show. Kind of looks down on him a little bit, so that tracks. And Mark also kind of being a jerk also tracks. Exterior Hale household yard morning. Mark, but also keep in mind through all of this, the audience is still asking what the heck is happening with the office thing, what's going on. Exterior Hale household yard morning. Mark goes to his car. Devin follows him out. The suburban Pacific Northwest neighborhood is coated in a layer of frozen dew. Devin and Mark's breath is visible in the morning light. It's cool how you act like you're better than the man who's sharing his house with you. It's your house. Hey, Mark turns. If this interview goes not great, why would it? Don't go to the bars after, okay? Like, at least come home first. Mark smiles. You know, he made up the Tolstoy thing. I know. Mark gets in the car. What's up, Caleb? Coming in with the skibbity. Appreciate it. This is interesting. So far, this is the first line of dialogue where I'm like, maybe we're telling a little too much without showing. Because the show, you know, kind of shows us that Mark has a drinking problem without telling us, like, hey, don't go to the bars first, come home first. But anyways, still good relationship building. Mark gets in the car. Interior Mark's car morning. Mark speeds along an icy road surrounded by evergreen trees. A thick fog makes for poor visibility. He stares ahead, pensive. Hi, I'm Mark Scout. He shuts his eyes. Good to meet you, Mark Scout. A deep breath. This place is great. My name is... The car hits something with a thud. Mark opens his eyes and slams on the brakes. Well, why were you driving with your eyes closed? Mark opens his eyes and slams on the brakes. He sits for a long moment, breathing heavily. Crap. Hi, Jacob. Hi, guys. What's up, Sibs? The siblings in the house. What did he hit? What did he hit with his car? Exterior forested road. Continuous. Mark gets out of the car. About 10 feet behind him on the road lies a white cat. It doesn't move. Oh no, indeed. Mark glances over to a large Victorian-style house just off the road. It's the only building in sight. He didn't hit a baby. He hit a cat, okay? He takes a step toward the cat. Cat? No response. He claps his hands. It doesn't move. He glances down at his watch. Damn it. He moves back to the car, plopping into the driver's seat. Gritting his teeth, he sounds his horn. No response from the house. He lays on the horn again, this time for longer. He notices the curtains in one of the upper windows move. Hastily, he flips the car into drive and speeds off. Interior Crazy Eagle video day. A card table has been set up in the middle of the store. Racks of DVDs line the walls. Mark sits across from Seth, the store manager, 25 and mustached. Seth, you say? Now, Seth is a character name that we've heard before, but usually it's for Mr. Milchick, Seth Milchick. But this seems to be for an unrelated store that he's interviewing for. Yeah, Seth. It's a lot of dusting of the DVDs and making sure they're in order. Do you have DVDs at home? I do. Yeah, so, you know, I've been covering all the shifts myself for a year now, but massage school is a huge commitment, so I'll be busy. Plus, I expect to make friends there. My schedule is very open. Seth looks over Mark's resume. Mark shifts uncomfortable. You okay? Yeah. You seem weird. I'm fine. Seth looks back at the resume. So it says you used to be a professor of... That was a while ago. You know this is minimum wage. It's fine. Seth stares at Mark a minute. Mark is sweating. Okay, well, the last question is one I ask everyone. Do you have any weaknesses that you think would prevent you from living up to the tradition of Crazy Eagle video? Mark looks down, fidgeting. No. I gotta write something or my uncle gets pissed. Pause. Mark looks back up at Seth. I ran over a cat. What? On my way here with my car. I don't know if it's dead. I should have checked, seen if it was breathing, but I was nervous to get here. Can cats be in a coma? I don't know. What kind of monster am I? Have I become the monster? Anyway, what kind of monster am I? Who hits a cat and then drives off to interview for a job no sane person would even want? So, what should I write? Mark thinks a moment, then gets up. I'm gonna go see if it's dead. Good luck with your movie store. Don't give me the job. Mark puts on his coat and exits, leaving Seth baffled. Dang. Well, he's gonna go check on that cat. Exterior forested road, day. Mark stands in front of his car staring at a blood stain on the pavement where the cat used to be. Sheesh, man. He turns and looks at the house. With a deep breath, he walks towards it. Exterior Victorian house, day. Mark knocks on the door. He looks around. The force is silent. A little girl, 3, opens the door. Hello, I was just, are your parents home? Someone killed our cat. That's awful. Did you kill our cat? Mark stares at her a moment. I did. She turns and walks into the dark house. Mark cranes his neck to look after her. Suddenly, a woman steps in front of the door, startling Mark. This is Harmony Cobell, the woman from the orientation chamber. Weird. Interesting. In the show, Cobell is Mark's next door neighbor. And I didn't point it out, but Mark appears to be living with Rickon and Devin, his sister and his brother-in-law. So Mark is not in the home next to Cobell, and Cobell does not appear to be their next door neighbor. Also, there's a 3-year-old girl here living in the same house with Cobell, presumably her daughter or something, because Cobell was only described as 40 in this. Interesting. Could maybe be granddaughter, but that would be a stretch. Oh, I'm sorry. So it would appear. What? You're here. One would assume that means you're sorry. I wanted to check on the cat. He was dead the moment you hit him, and he's remained so. I'm sorry. You mentioned. How did you know I had... Wait a second. Stop. Everyone stop here. Hold on for just a frickin' moment. What page are we on? 36. Got it. We need to go back, and I need to see something. 5 days earlier. This is saying 5 days earlier. They were saying that he's been training for months. They said he's been training at this to come into this job for months. Yet this was only 5 days before. Okay? That he's met Cobell. As far as we know. Telling to keep in mind, they're not telling the truth. No, this is in the past, but they had said in the present, they said Mark's been training for months for this job. He just came from a job interview that was not at this company, and this is only 5 days before that he's meeting Cobell. How did you know you came here from work? An interview. Did you get it? No. Condolences. Yes, well, look, I want to apologize. Truly, I can't tell you how sorry I am. I'd be happy to pay you for it. Would you like to see it? Pause. Would I like to see the cat? Yes. No. Interior Cobell's house parlor, day. Mark and Cobell stand over the body of the cat. He said no, and they cut to the cat being dead, which lays on a white linen tablecloth surrounded by candles. Creepy. Cobell munches on a pickle. She offers one to Mark. Pickle? No, thank you. I grew them myself. I insist. Mark takes the pickle. Awkwardly, he takes a bite. Pause. What was his name? Mr. Whoa! Mr. That's a funny name for a cat. Well, I suppose I'm funny. Each takes another bite of pickle. This is page 37. Back to the beginning. Look at one of the questions. One of the questions, if we remember, who killed Mr. and how did he die? Who killed Mr. and how did he die is one of the questions they asked Mark, and they asked him that because of this. because only a few days ago he would have killed Mr. Which means, well, I mean, we know what it means. It means that like they've like severed his brain so that he can't remember, but they're testing him. They're testing him to see if he remembers this situation. Who killed Mr.? Huh. Each takes another bite of pickle. I'm Mark. Harmony Cobell. Pleasure. It's of interest to me, Mark, that you drove away. You seem more courteous than that. Were you afraid? I guess. It all comes back to the pickle. The pickle did it, guys. It's the pickle's fault. I guess. Yet you had the courage to come back, knowing our disdain for you would be compounded by the initial act of cowardice. Well, it seemed right. And how did the actual slaying feel? It's weird. Slaying? I myself have only murdered small insects, nothing mammalian. Did it make you feel powerful? No, not at all. It was the opposite of that. The opposite of power? Describe that for me. I just had to go. I felt horrible for Mr., but I had an interview. I couldn't feel horrible right then. And how many things in your life are you putting off feeling horrible about? She takes a massive pickle bite. They use the pickle to make him forget. Solid theory. I should get home. Excuse me. He turns to leave. Do you feel horrible about Eleanor? He stops. He turns around, his legs suddenly shaky. In the divorce proceedings, she accused you of, quote, acute workaholism. I've never heard it phrased that way. She sounds like a firecracker. He stares at her, steadying himself against a side table. How do you... Who's Eleanor? Who's Eleanor? And divorce... That is not the story we know about Mark's wife. What did they do with Gemma? Gemma is Mark's wife. Who is Eleanor? How does Cobell know about Eleanor and about Mark? And yeah, it sounds like his ex, but we've never heard of this girl chick before. Girl chick? He stares at her, saying to himself, how does she know? What is happening? Or what about being fired via text message 2 days after signing divorce papers? Decreased focus, they cited. Have you gotten around to feeling horrible about that? How does she know so much? Mark falls back against the wall. I feel sick. Take it easy. What was in that pickle? I won't lie, there were drugs in the pickle. Huh? What is... What the... Oh, Super Gaming Texan, you were right. You were right about the pickle. I should never have doubted you. I thought it was a funny joke. What was in that pickle? I won't lie, there were drugs in the pickle. Mark falls to the floor, his vision blurring. Cobell slowly walks towards him. I'm proud of you for coming back, Mark. That was very, very brave. I will never doubt you again. My apologies. The room goes dark as Mark passes out. End of Act 3. What the heck? What the heck, bro? Oh my goodness. This is nuts. And this is nothing like what happens in the show, I should say. The closest we get to this is that when she's his neighbor and pretending to be someone else, she offers him like burnt cookies, but there's no like drugs involved. They were not besties, and that walk was not a walk. That is true. She lied about both of those things 100%. Act 4. Oh my gosh. Interior Cobell's house, basement night. Mark slowly awakens, his head spinning. The room is dank, the walls made of rotted wood. He sits in a chair at a table. Cobell sits across from him. In her hand is a shoebox. You're up. Mark tries to stand but finds he's handcuffed. Mark, I feel like I've been hard to read so far. That's irksome. Will you let me explain myself? What is happening? I do not know. Please let me go. I heard you slam on your brakes after you hit Mister. I wrote down your plate number on a takeout menu and looked you up after you drove off. I wrote down your plate number on a takeout menu and looked you up after you drove off. That's why I know who you are, simple as that. I call bullcrap on that. What? That's how you know who he is? You wrote down his plate number, and so you looked up that his wife divorced him, and then he got a text 2 days later that he was fired? How did you get all that information? Do you have extra power, Cobel? What? The things you knew, there's no way. It was specific, right? That's the other thing I wanted to talk about. See, I work for an organization that's in the business of specificity. We don't like not knowing things. What else do you know about me? She leans back. I know you're brilliant. I know you were doing calculus at 9, took college classes at 11. I know you've struggled with focus your whole life. Does Mark Cannon have ADHD? Does Canon Mark S have ADHD that we've never talked about? And that after your divorce, you spent most of the night standing on the Skagit Bridge begging yourself to jump. Jeez, dark. No one knows that. Someone does. Why am I here? I want to offer you a job. Why am I handcuffed? The job's a tough sell. She pushes the box towards him. He could have. Let me digress a second. I want to introduce you to someone who's actually grateful to you for killing Mister. Are you okay? I know this is a lot. Mark says nothing. She takes the top off the box. Inside is a black rat. Mark recoils. This is Miss. Don't let the name fool you. He's male. My daughter picks the names. So the daughter named the cat Mister and named this black rat Miss. But he's also a male. Cobel reaches into the box. Miss nuzzles her hand. Now I've raised Miss from infancy. I cuddle him. Bro! I cuddle him at night! Get out! I cuddle him at night. Feed him by hand. See how he loves me. Yes, you do, little miss. Dude, Cobel is freaky. What is happening? Why are you showing me your rat? I would like to know that. I agree, this is weird. And to be fair, Severance is a weird show. This is freaky stuff. She reaches under the table and pulls out a small cylindrical device with a single switch on top. She lays it on the table next to a box. This beacon was built by my company. It broadcasts a hypersonar frequency, which activates a chip inside Miss's brain. When the beacon is on, Miss can only access memories from when it was on. When it's off, he remembers everything else. Does that make sense? She flips the switch on the beacon, which hums almost inaudibly. Miss instantly becomes hysterical, retreating to the back of the box and squeaking in terror. Like a different style altogether. Yeah, it definitely is a different level of weird. Also, this seems like a difference. In the show, the procedure called Severance is like this known procedure, like known by the world, and it's kind of like this political debate of like, should you get severed or not? This seems much more like secretive, you know, and they're like experimenting on this rat. And she's like having to explain it to him. Now, I should mention that when the beacon is on, I burn Miss on the belly with a soldering iron. She reaches into the box. Miss cowers in terror. He screams and screams, but I don't stop. Sometimes it lasts an hour. She might be calling Mark a rat. She removes her hand. Okay, enough of that. Cobel clicks the beacon off again. Miss instantly calms down. Cobel picks her up and nuzzles her affectionately. Mark stares at this in horror. Who the hell are you? Cobel lets Miss crawl onto the back of her neck. I'm an office manager. I work at the most revolutionary company on the planet, and I'm prepared to offer you $500,000 a year to come join us. Oh boy, that's a big upgrade from living with your sister and brother-in-law. No offense. The only condition is that you will receive a beacon of your own, and your perceptual chronologies will be split. Between the hours of 9 and 5, you will have no knowledge of who you are or where you are from, only work memories, and in your outside life, you will know nothing of what you do for the company. The vital nature of the work requires such secrecy. Mark stares at her. He has no words. By the way, those cuffs are plastic. Mark looks down at the cuffs. He pulls his arms up sharply, breaking them. He stumbles to his feet. Dude, this is crazy. She like kidnaps him to explain the procedure and then offers him $500,000 a year to do it. This is psychotic. There's no way what you're describing. It's real. It violates no law yet, and it's brought solace to many of our workers. By cracking their brains in half, Mark, my mother was an atheist. This is what I'm talking about. She tells it to him on both sides, but on the outside, she says my mother's a Catholic. On the inside, she says my mother is an atheist. Here, reversed. She used to say that there's good news and bad news about hell. That's the title of the actual episode that gets made. The good news is that hell is the product of an overactive human imagination. The bad news is that what human beings can imagine, they can create. I think that hell is a world where you eternally obsess over where you'll be in 12 hours, where your marriage freezes to death in the shadow of your career. Mark, what if you could walk into work in the morning and skip straight to the quitting bell, remove the anxiety of being a worker, and only be a person? That's what it's like. Huh. What I'm getting here is that outside Cobell is much more the menacing, sinister, like, cards on the table, this is who I am. And inside Cobell in this script is the more motherly kind, like, Mark, let's be friends. And that's different than in the show. That's flipped in the show. But she's really trying to sell it to him, and she's saying it as like, I think that hell is you having to be anxious and, scared for 12 hours or doing your work stressed when you could just be a human and then let your work person do the work. Interesting. Unless you're unlucky enough to wake up as the worker, in which case you know nothing else. Those who have had the procedure are happier, both at work and at home, than ever before in their lives. Cap. I'm calling cap on that one, chat. Mark stares at her another moment. Have you had it? No. He nods. Then when you get to work tomorrow, you can tell everyone that I told you to go straight to hell. Cobell laughs at this. Mark turns and stumbles to the door. Give it some thought, Mark. You know where to find me. Mark reaches the door and shoves it open. Cobell scratches Miss's neck. That was a funny thing he said, wasn't it, Miss? Yes, it was. Miss nuzzles her hand. What the heck? Interior police station, office night. Mark sits across from Officer Irons, 40 and incredulous. Okay, so you hit the woman's cat. Yes. And didn't go back to check on it. No. In cases like that, sir, you should get out of the car and assess the animal. Please listen, this woman drugged and kidnapped me. Literally. Officer Irons ponders this a moment. Would you give me a moment, please, sir? Yeah. Mark gets up. Interior police station waiting area night. We are going all over the board with this one. There is so much happening in this episode. Mark sits down in one of a long row of chairs. Through the window, he sees Officer Irons talk to Officer Green, 55 and skinny. Mark leans back, rubbing his face. He doesn't notice Kaya, 26, petite and strung out, sitting a few chairs away. Why did they bring you here? Mark looks at her, exhausted. They didn't. I came to report a crime. Me too, but they won't listen to me. They say I'm bonkers. Okay. My dad was killed when I was 10 on his birthday, but they'll never catch who did it. You know why that is? Listen, I've had kind of a rough night because he was killed by angels. Mark stares speechless. He flew out of one of his presents, the one with gold paper, and they pulled bones out of him till he died. Good Lord. Mark nods. Okay. The door to the office opens and Officer Irons and Green emerge. Mr. Scout? Yes? The officers glance at each other. Take us there. Weird. Crazy. Let me respond to something real quick. Hold on. Just a second. Yeah. I need to respond. Coming back right now. Okay. I'll wrap up soon. Okay. So it looks like we're going to Cobell's house. Or at least that's where Mark's gonna take the officers. This is crazy. Interior Forested Road, morning. As the sun rises, the officers get out of their car. They walk along the road to join Mark, who is standing in front of his own parked car, staring in disbelief. The area where the house stood is now a vacant field. Only a plastic porta potty sits in the center. For a long moment, all stare. What? Is Miss Cobell a witch? He took her back, or he took them back. And is she magic? Your guess is as good as mine, and I've seen the whole show multiple times. I don't know. They go back to the field. It's just an empty field, and now there's just a porta potty in the center. Great. What does that mean? This is the house, sir? Sir, this is a portable lavatory, frequently used for temporary waste management, but insufficient for habitation. There was a house here. The officers glance at one another. You know what I think this is? What's that? Bunch of crap. Officer Green bursts into a fit of laughter. Ah, that's classic. Thought of it a minute ago. It wasn't improvised. Officer still so funny. The radios bleep. Possible homicide on 4th and Vice. All units. We gotta go. Wait, can't you? Please return home, Mr. Scout. Contact us only if there's an emergency. The officers run to their car and get in. They peel out and speed off. Mark stands at the side of the road staring after them. He starts to walk to his car. He turns regarding the porta potty. Interior porta potty, morning. Mark enters and sits down. He shuts the door behind him. He looks around, silent for a long moment. Are you here? Pause. Of course I am. Mark looks up. At the top of the porta potty is a speaker. How did you do that? I can't tell you, but let me ask you this, Mark. Is it not worth considering that a company can make a house disappear? Is it not worth considering that a company that can make a house disappear may also be able to fix your somewhat broken life? Mark thinks about this. If I was unhappy, could I get out of it? Both halves of you would need to request it, but that won't happen. I'm offering you something that you've craved your whole life, Mark. I'm offering you focus and all that comes with it. You can explore what that means, or you can go back to your sister's baby room. I believe a nearby food court is hiring. Mark lets out a slow breath. Mark, when you step out of this porta potty, would you like me to be there? You can say no, or you can say yes. Mark shuts his eyes. Yes. I'm glad you said that. Come out. Mark opens his eyes. He opens the door. Man, so they are really painting the company as this much more powerful force. Like, they can get stuff done. They can move a house in a number of hours and get it done. And They're also really honing in on this idea of like Mark struggles to focus, and that's part of why, because the reason he gets the procedure originally is because his life is tragic and because he's trying to escape a lot of grief. But here it seems like, I mean, that's part of it because of the divorce, but it also seems like they're honing in on like he can't focus very well, and so that's part of why also. This porta potty thing is so crazy. Exterior Forested Road, continuous. Mark steps out to see Cobell standing in front of a sleek black car. Next to her is Milchick, smiling like an idiot. They really paint Milchick as a moron in this. Mark lets out another long breath and makes his way to the side of the road. This is Frank Milchick, newly hired PR director. So psyched you're joining us. Cobell smiles and opens the rear door of the car. Shall we? Mark nods. He gets in the car. Blackness. Screen text 4 days later. So this is supposedly a day before he starts work. Interior White Room day. Mark sits at a wooden table in a surgical gown, a thermometer in his mouth, and a sheet of paper in his hands. Milchick stands over him. The room is perfectly cubic and all white. Milchick removes the thermometer. All good. You ready for this? Yeah. Great. Let's make some rad magic. Milchick moves to the other side of the table. A camera has been set up. Cobell stands in the corner. Okay, we're on, Mark, in 1, 2. He hits record. Mark picks up the paper and reads, My name is Mark Scout. I have, at the suggestion of my employer, elected to undergo the procedure colloquially known as severance. I give consent for my unconscious body to be transported to my workplace and my personal beacon activated, creating a new perceptual chronology. I understand that the skills required to perform my job will be implanted in the mind of my employed self, along with a cursory awareness of the outside world for conversational purposes. I will not henceforth seek knowledge of my outside life while at work, nor of my work life while at home. Weird. Okay, so this is pretty similar to the monologue that Helly gives herself in the video as she's like talking to her inward self. This is a little different. I understand that the skills will be implanted in the mind of my employed self, so they're implanting the skills in him, along with an awareness of the outside world. So like they give them awareness of stuff like the state of Delaware, but they don't give them enough to understand who they are or their memories. And then we cut to the interior video archive room evening. Back in the cramped room, Mark crouches before the television set, watching the recorded image of himself reading the waiver. So we're back to present day. He can hardly breathe as he stares at his own pensive face. I say these things of my own free accord and being of sound mind. That's good, Mark. That's real good. Would it be all right if I said something to him? Pause. No. The screen cuts to static. Mark leans back. He stares into the static for a very long moment. Interior upper hallway night. Mark opens the door and steps quietly out of the archive room. Cobell and Milchick stand before him. When was that taken? This morning. Mark nods. I'm never going to leave here. You'll leave here at 5. But in your current state of awareness, you won't perceive it. Mark nods again. Do I have a family? You'll never know. And I don't have any choice? Cobell stares at him solemnly. You did. You chose yes. Mark lets out a long breath. Milchick and Cobell stand still, giving him all the time he needs. End of Act 4. Okay, so that's like almost the end, and then this is like the cold ending, the final little thing. Hold on, let me skip this song. Interior dark hall night. Cobell walks down a hallway, darker than the one before. She rounds a corner and stops. Before her is a corridor so dark that the end is not visible. He's gone. A soft, raspy man's voice echoes down the hallway. Has he come to us, detective? Or has he come to us, defective? No. He's curious, like the other before him. Cobell looks at the floor, uncomfortable. Cut to interior lobby night. Mark stands at the security station as a guard pats him down. That won't happen again. This one may fight for a time, but he will choose us as his home. And if he doesn't choose us, the guard waves Mark to the door. Mark stares at his reflection in the glass, then pushes the door open and exits. Darkness. Then he'll have nothing left but the dark. End of episode. Wow. 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 Woo. Okay. So what do we have here? Wow. That is really cool. I am pretty shocked at how different this is. To be fair, I have never read like a pilot script before for a show I've already seen. I was not expecting the whole story to be so very different, and the concept is the same, but it's very different. And this is a much quicker start. Here's what I got from this. First of all, they honed in on the characters really quickly, and like the vibes each character got. Like the vibes were the same for the characters, even if their timing or roles were slightly different. They got you into the action right away, and they made it tense and made it this, like it was moving a lot and adding a lot of questions. I can see why they changed like some of the Cobell stuff, of like drugging him and at the house, because I think it gives it more mystery if you don't understand her motivation for a while. But based on how they changed this, like what I'm getting is that even if you're going to stretch out events into a longer season, it might be good to put some of those events in your pilot episode, because it's going to allow more to happen and give whoever's reading it or whoever wants to buy it a better understanding of where you're trying to go with it. This is fascinating. I am going to definitely hold on to this and use it as like a reference point as we go, just because I love the dialogue, and also because of how they shifted this and made it different. Like it definitely gives that vibe of like this is only the beginning of something much deeper. And I definitely think the pilot that they ended up doing was an improvement for the entire show, but as like a standalone piece of like this is what my show is, and like the atmosphere it gave and the characters it gave, like I can see why like this is so strong immediately, like such a strong representation of what this show goes on to be. And I find that fascinating and crazy some of the stuff. Dude, Cobell is even freakier in the original script, if you can believe it. She's even crazy. Wow. That's pretty awesome. It makes me want to know what the idea was. Like, why did they change so much, after the fact? Was it because once they got a deal with Apple TV, they knew they were going to get at least one full season, and so they like spaced it out different? Like, why did they change the characters where Helly was the one coming in and Mark, our main character, was the one that had already been there? Like, yeah, she is crazy. I don't know. I have a lot of questions as to the choices they made, but I feel like that is a really good like inspiration and good like blueprint of stuff to look out for. The main things taking away being like, even if you're going to stretch it out to a longer season, let a lot happen in your pilot that's exciting and tense. Even if you want a slower show, like don't feel like you have to start slow because you want to draw people in. Also, as you go through and you're setting up the structure, like if it's 3 acts or 4 acts or however, make the end of each act some sort of cliffhanger that keeps the audience and keeps you like engaged in like what's going to happen next. Those are the main points I got through it. And then really just like hone in on dialogue and hone in on who these characters are, whoever you're introducing. But that was really cool. I feel like that was really inspiring for me, and I had a great time just like reading through it and seeing the differences for sure. But yeah, I am probably gonna get something to eat. But I hope that you all have a lovely evening. I hope this was inspiring to you. As always, I encourage you to go watch something, go read something, do something that inspires you creatively, and gets the storyteller brain working. But I appreciate you all for joining me. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one. God bless and goodbye.